We'll be starting in Pine Bluffs and running this train to Rawlins, 190 miles away. At $32,000 per mile, the government's given us $3,400,000. All right, let's build ourselves a railroad. Pine Bluffs to Rawlins. Difficult mountains ahead. Your mission: use your skills at trading to find the best route across. Building begins in Pine Bluffs in October of 1867. Thanks to the railroad, Pine Bluffs is fast becoming an important cow town. Rawlins, Wyoming. The locals are so happy to have the train here. There are celebrations for days at this outpost in Wyoming. You get an urgent telegram from some German homesteaders. What message do you want to send them? It says they're under attack and want your help. You agreed to help the homesteaders. You arrive with guns ready and find they were lying about the Indian attack. They only wanted to trade. You lose $50,000, but get some medicine. I don't believe it. Good decision. Turns out the homesteaders were lying about the Indian attack. They only wanted to trade. Laramie, Wyoming. In 1866, the first permanent settlement in Laramie was built. There's a fort and trading post here. Laramie, Wyoming. By the time the first passenger train arrived in Laramie, the city already had 23 saloons, 1 hotel, and no churches. Business is booming. You collect $100,000. The North Platte River is wide and shallow. The banks on both sides have high bluffs. Your deck bridge collapses because the river is too wide. You lose $10,000. That's like trying to cover up a glass of water with a nickel. We got lucky. Deck bridges aren't usually much good on wide rivers. A wood trestle bridge is just the thing. Goes with the North Platte River like peas go with carrots. A beautiful bridge for a beautiful river. Our iron trestle bridge will get the job done, but it sure was pricey. Kind of like mopping your floor with a fur coat. Lodgepole Creek. The trees along this creek make excellent lodgepoles for teepees. A nice little bridge for a nice little creek. That's a lot of bridge for a little creek. It'll do, but it cost us a bit more than it needed to. An iron trestle bridge for little old Lodgepole Creek? Isn't that like weeding your garden with blasting powder? The Arapaho depend upon these trees. Cutting them down could mean trouble, but they're great wood for building. What do you want to do? Shipping in lumber costs you $50,000. Turns out the Arapaho didn't need the trees at Lodgepole Creek, since they also use trees from the nearby mountains. The Arapaho depend upon these trees, but are not willing to fight you for them. You collect $50,000. The Arapaho depend upon these trees and are willing to fight you for them. Total cost, $75,000. Trapper's Cabin. Locals say this abandoned cabin has a map to a secret gold mine. But there are grizzly bears in the area. Trapper's Cabin. Locals say this abandoned cabin has a map to a secret gold mine. But there could be trouble from the grizzly bears in the area. If they attack your workers, what should they do? Bad idea. When one of your workers is attacked by a grizzly, your workers refuse to go back to the cabin. Dang! If there's a treasure map in there, we'll never find it now. Good idea! Your workers are safe from grizzly attacks and discover a map in the cabin showing a secret gold mine in the Sierra Madres. Here, watch closely, and I'll point it out. The north bank of the South Platte is covered with sandy hills. Good job! That nitro blasted the hills like an axe cutting through a loaf of bread. A nitroglycerin explosion injures some of your workers. Construction is stopped for safety inspections. It cost you $50,000. Ouch! Using nitro on these little hills is like scratching your foot with a shotgun. Success! Blasting powder made short work of those hills. That was easy. Let's move onward. These hills are steep, but not steep enough for a tunnel. You lose $100,000. There's no need to build a tunnel through little piles of dirt like these. Mysterious Cache. A large rock reads, Pour Henri Lefebvre. This cache is a landmark that may offer clues for safe passage through here. Mysterious Cache. A large rock reads, Pour Henri Lefebvre. This cache is clearly a landmark of some kind. What do you want to do? Your workers dig for 2 days all around the cache and only find an old shoe. You lose $10,000 in wasted time. Your workers find a warning from a friend of Henri Lefebvre that there's a hidden sinkhole nearby. You save $50,000 by not building near the sinkhole. You'll never know what was buried in that cache. But your workers make good time. Your tracks fall into a sinkhole nearby. Your workers later discover that the cache contained a warning about the sinkhole. You lose $50,000. Veda Vu Stone Formations. The name means earthborn spirit. The Arapaho think the rocky place is sacred and filled with spirits. Veda vu stone formations. Near these strange rock formations, you meet an Arapaho boy on a Kit Fox mission. What do you want to do? We should be careful. He's a warrior. What would you like to trade with the boy from the Kit Fox Society? The boy rejects your greenbacks as worthless. This is a huge loss, since he could have shown you the easiest passage through the Laramie Mountains. The boy rejects your compass as worthless. This is a huge loss, since he could have shown you the easiest passage through the Laramie Mountains. He said he didn't need a compass, since he can find his way by looking at the sky. The boy accepts your medicine and offers in trade directions through the Laramie Mountains. Look carefully, he'll only show us once. The boy rejects your gun. This is a huge loss, since he could have shown you the easiest passage through the Laramie Mountains. As a proud Kit Fox, he says it's far nobler to hunt with the bow and arrow. The Laramie Mountains are made up of granite. They can be steep and difficult to cross. These mountains are too steep for a cut or gap. You lose $10,000. Trying to cut our way through these mountains is like trying to drink a swimming pool. Company bonus. Congratulations! You found the best pass through the Laramie Mountains. Collect $50,000. Cave-in. A tunnel cave-in ruins 3 weeks of work. Luckily, no one is injured. You lose $100,000. There must have been a better way to cross through these mountains. Impassable cliffs. You've hit an impassable area. Backtracking cost you $45,000. Try another route through the mountains. Medicine Bow Mountains. These mountains are difficult to cross, but have valuable wood. The Arapaho and Cheyenne like to gather here for powwows. These mountains are too steep for a cut or gap. You lose $10,000. That's like knocking down a barn with a feather. Trees. There are excellent trees for railroad ties and fuel. Do you want to cut them down? You begin to cut down trees in land where local tribes have powwows. The tribes fight back by pulling down 10 miles of telegraph lines. You lose $10,000, plus $50,000 to ship in wood. Not cutting down trees in this powwow area was a good decision. You spend $50,000 to ship in wood, but it would have cost more to try to cut down the trees. These mountains are difficult to cross, but may have gold or silver in them. These mountains are too steep for a cut or gap. You lose $10,000. You're spitting into the wind trying to blast a cut here. You find gold! The fur trapper's map was correct. A secret gold mine in the Sierra Madres earns you $300,000. The Laramie River is wide and shallow. The banks on both sides have high bluffs. There's trading to do? Let's see what the Dream Team has to say about that. Must be Indians. Sarah has a book of Morse code. Looks like we'll need it. That's what we get for building near a trading post and a fort. The locals stay clear of this cabin. I wonder if we should. What do you do if a grizzly bear attacks? Besides scream, that is. We'll be needing to make these hills a little flatter before we can build. Building a railroad is like making a cake. You can't have any lumps. These hills have got to go. Maybe there's treasure under that rock. Or maybe there's just more rocks. Why does it say poor? Maybe there's treasure under that rock. Or maybe there's just dirt. Why does it say poor? Arapaho, eh? Maybe we can trade. Looks like a good place for some tunnels. For early Native Americans crossing the Western Plains, Pine Bluffs was an ideal campsite. They could see the mountains to the west and the plains to the east. There's good hunting, water, and edible plants. The first settlers in Wyoming came with the fur trade. More came along when folks started settling in the west. In 1868, the government made Wyoming a territory, with Cheyenne as the capital. The Homestead Act of 1862 said every settler could buy 160 acres of land for just $10. If you bought the land, though, you had to farm it for at least 5 years. In the 1820s, a trapper named Jacques Laramie built his cabin near the Laramie and Platte rivers. The fort and nearby mountains were named after him. A bluff along a river is a high, steep bank. A creek is a stream of water smaller than a river. This creek is easy to cross. Fur trappers and mountain men were the first to explore the West over 60 years ago. Most of them are long gone. Fur trapping was big after President Jefferson bought the Louisiana Territory from the French. A hill is a rounded, natural high place in the land that's lower than a mountain and bigger than a bump in the road. A cache is a hiding place for provisions, valuables, and sometimes information. The cache said, "Pour Henri Lefebvre," because the message was for Henri, a French fur trapper. Pour means for in French. One of Henri's trapper friends was warning him about that sinkhole. The cache said, "Pour Henri Lefebvre," because the message was for Henri, a French fur trapper. Pour means for in French. The cache said pour Henri Lefebvre, because Henri is a French fur trapper and pour means for in French. So, the cache had a warning from one trapper to the other about the sinkhole. The Arapaho men have 7 warrior societies. The first is called the Kit Fox Society, for boys under 25 years old. We may come across some of the Kit Fox Society on our way through here. Veda Vu is known for its unusually shaped pedestal rocks, which are composed of 1.43 billion-year-old granite. The name means earth-born spirit. The Arapaho think the rocky place is sacred and filled with spirits. Granite is an igneous rock used for buildings and monuments. It is difficult to blast. The trees here are so excellent for making weapons that the Native Americans believe they are filled with good medicine and will protect them in battle. Cutting down these trees could mean big trouble for you. But the Indians are right. They're excellent for building things. There are plenty of places to trade in these parts. Trading posts have been set up for the homesteaders and immigrants coming through on the way out west. Pine Bluffs is an important watering place along the Texas Trail. Cattle ranchers from all over move their herds through here on the way to market. Since we brought the train in, more cattle are shipped from this point than from any other. General Rawlins led the soldiers that protected the railroad survey crew. One day, when he was very ill, a soldier brought him a drink from a cool, fresh stream here. Most pioneer kids never had the chance to go to school. They were needed on the farms for everything from milking cows to helping in the fields. In 1866, the first permanent settlement in the area was built as a fort, 2 miles south of what is now Laramie, Wyoming. It takes up to 12 buffalo hides to make a teepee big enough for a family. The women in the tribes make the teepees and own them. Grizzly bears can run as fast as horses, uphill or downhill. They can also climb trees, although black bears are better tree climbers than grizzly bears. A landmark is a big object that's easy to see, like a hill, a tree, or a building that marks an area in a special way. Holes that suddenly open up in the ground, the sinkholes in this area occur when loose soil falls into underground cave. Veda Vu is known for its unusually shaped pedestal rocks, which are made of 1.43 billion-year-old granite. The Arapaho men have 7 warrior societies. The first is called the Kit Fox Society, for boys under 25 years old. We may come across some of the Kit Fox Society on our way through here. A powwow is a Native American traditional gathering. The whole tribe meets together to dance, sing, visit with each other, and celebrate. Rawlins, Wyoming. This outpost in Wyoming was named after General Rawlins. It's 190 miles from Pine Bluffs. Sinkholes are holes that suddenly open up in the ground. The sinkholes in this area happen when loose soil falls into underground caves. Not all mountain ranges are the same. The Laramie Mountains are lower and less risky than the Medicine Bow Range. Sinkholes are holes that suddenly open up in the ground. The sinkholes in this area happen when loose soil falls into underground caves.
Trading posts like this one are few and far between. Take advantage of them. Be careful, though, or they'll take advantage of you. After long months on the trail, cowboys love to hit the town. They take a bath, shave, put on new jeans, and drink, drink, drink. Forget fistfights. Most cowboys use guns and knives when they fight. Here's the Morse code alphabet. It's the quickest way to send a message these days. Even goes over the ocean. They say that someday we'll be able to send voices and sounds over wires too, but I think that's impossible. Besides, what would you call that? In the plains, there are few trees, so families build homes with whatever they can find. It takes 3,000 square feet of sod to cut enough bricks for a sod house, which they call a soddy. The owner of a soddy is called a sodbuster. Fort Laramie is in this area. They built it to protect immigrants and settlers from Indian attacks. Depending on how high the water is, there are different islands in the North Platte. When it rains a lot, some of those islands become bumps on the bottom of the river. There are 50 to 100,000 grizzly bears roaming around North America. Some say that number will fall once our railroad brings more people out west. I guess trains aren't such a good thing for everyone. Arapaho boys prepared to join the Kit Fox Society by learning the appropriate songs and dances. They learned how to wrestle and race each other on foot and on horseback. These mountains were named after the French fur trapper who lived in these parts, Jacques Laramie. This Indian jewelry is amazing. Breastplates are made from harebone pipe with glass beads hanging down. The hair barrettes are hand-beaded, and so are the pieces of fur that hang from the ladies' hair. Princesses wear beaded crowns. It's just about the best thing you'll ever see.
All sorts of folks in these parts, and they'll all be wanting something from us. If you're doing any trading, think about what those folks need. You won't catch me in a saloon. Lonesome cowboys paying $1 to dance with a girl. And the gambling. I saw a cowboy gamble away his ranch, his cattle, and even his family. The main surveyor for the railroad, General Grenville Dodge, is the one who named Laramie after Jacques Laramie. Jacques is an old friend of mine, and a darn good fur trapper. These trees will make fine, strong railroad ties. It'll save us $50,000 in the long run. As for the Arapaho, there are plenty of trees for everybody. We used up them trees a little faster than I thought we would. Saved us money, but the Arapaho paid the price. We just started a war over some trees? Never figured a few poles could be so important. Well, seems to me that a grizzly wouldn't see much point in killing you if it thought you were already dead. I'd lie down and look so dead, the bear'd be calling the coffin maker for me. When you're not worried about getting yourself eaten by a bear, you can concentrate on other things, like finding maps. The Arapaho believe in something called reincarnation. Let's say a baby is born with a birthmark or wrinkles. They believe that an old person who also had those marks died and is being born again. Give the boy a rifle to take back to his people. Hunting folks can always use another rifle. We have medicine from the German settlers. I say offer that to him. He can bring it back to his village. We'll be through the Laramies in no time. Kids today, I tell you, I just don't understand them. The powwow singing gets started by the head singer, who lets everyone know what song is coming. The drum comes in next, and then the singers. Last, the dancers start dancing. All I know is, it is something to see. The trees here are just about the best when it comes to making weapons. The Native Americans believe they're filled with good medicine, or magic, and will protect them in battle. Cutting down these trees could mean big trouble. I'm not sure what good medicine means, but it sure sounds like something you don't want to mess around with.
Way I see it, it's best we trade early. It's a long way to Rawlins, and I reckon we should be ready for whatever comes our way. Cowboys are always getting into trouble in these cow towns. After months of hard work herding cattle, they let off steam by drinking and gambling. At least most of them take a bath for once. It may be a trick. Sometimes settlers trick you into coming to their settlement so they can sell you stuff. If we don't go, though, and they're telling the truth, them settlers could be in real trouble. Ain't easy, but here's what I think's best. Settlers in these parts might not see travelers for a long time. When they see the chance to make a few greenbacks, they get a little crazy. They're thinking of opening a prison in Laramie to keep the outlaws off the streets. I say they just put bars on the windows of the saloon on a Saturday night and call that the jail. No need to risk getting into trouble with the Arapaho. They need these trees more than we do. We can ship in wood for railroad ties and fuel for $50,000. Guess sometimes it pays to be a little greedy. That's it. Next time I'm not sharing. Here's the way I see it. The place where the bear is, that's the place you don't want to be. I'd say run! Well, how was I supposed to know? You never hear anybody say faster than a speeding bear. Stopping to dig for treasure will cost us $10,000. I say keep going. Chances are any treasure isn't gonna be worth what we paid to dig it up. Who cares what was under those rocks? If we stopped to turn over every rock, we'd never build the train. There ought to be a law the way I see it. If you're writing a message about a sinkhole, you should put it on top of the rock, not under it. The Pawnee, Kiowa, and Comanche call the Arapaho a name that means he buys or trades. The Arapaho help the other tribes trade with each other. I guess that's what they do best. If he's on a mission all alone, let's give him a compass so he can find his way. That's what I'd want. Looking at the sky, huh? Most folks don't learn to do that nowadays. Guess it's 'cause we have these compasses. At the powwow, the women of the tribe dance a special dance called a buckskin. It's a smooth, flowing dance done with fans and fine, handcrafted buckskin dresses with bead designs. I wish I had one of them dresses.
Trading? All that talking gives me a headache. Give me a deck of cards and a saloon, and I'll get us what we need. A cow town? That's a place where ranchers bring their cattle to ship them out on the railroad. Folks come in from the cities and buy whole herds to send back to Chicago or New York. It's a lot of stakes. Indians attacking? Sounds like them settlers need us something fierce. On the other hand, if we go running off fighting everybody's wars, we could end up broke or dead. Tough call, but here's what I say we do. Lion snakes. Next time I'm sending a telegraph with just 2 words. No dang way. make that 3 words. Some say this area is ripe for mining. Nobody's found gold or silver, but you never know, and I got a good feeling about these mountains. I ain't scared of no grizzlies. Well, I am, but I love treasure so much it kind of cancels out the fear. I'll tell you what I'd do if I saw a grizzly. I'd be up a tree so fast the squirrels would eat my dust. Bears can climb trees? Whew, boy, I'm gonna be having me some nightmares tonight. What's this word poor? Was he poor? If so, we may not want to dig here. There won't be any treasure. You don't just leave a buried treasure in the ground, you dig it up. That's what it's there for. An old shoe? Now, if it was a gold shoe, then we'd be talking. Well, a note for some old French trapper isn't your usual buried treasure, but I reckon I'll take the 50,000. This place gives me the creeps. The coyotes are sneakier, the antelope are bigger and faster, and the wind sounds like it's talking to you. Stay away! This place gives me the creeps. The coyotes are sneakier, the antelope are bigger and faster, and the wind sounds like it's talking to you. Stay away and don't talk to strangers, especially strangers in warrior societies. Laramie Mountains. I'll find my own path, thank you very much. Don't need some kid helping me. I say we give him money. He might be a warrior, but he's still a kid, and kids love money. He can buy himself some candy. Worthless? These greenbacks? Huh, why, you just take him down to the nearest store and, now that I think about it, I guess there ain't a store out here, is there? The Indians like these trees for a reason. It's just about the best wood I ever seen. Cut 'em down and we'll have ourselves $50,000 worth of free railroad ties. Who'd have thought a few trees would cause such a ruckus?